of course, every week we bring you, our viewers, an opportunity that you can think about and perhaps invest in. Now, we're going to talk about a mortgage fund today, and why would property investors consider a mortgage fund such as ASCF as an alternative to directly buying property? Where Stephen Croll from ASCF is joining us today. Stephen, thanks very much for talking to us about this asset class today.
Thank you, Tess.
Well, okay, let's start from the very basics. What is a mortgage fund?
Okay, so a mortgage fund is a managed investment that is set up purely to pay distributions to investors from the profits derived from a pool of mortgage funds. So people who invest with us, we then on-lend that money to people, for example, who are looking for a bridging loan. It's all short-term loans. That's all we do. We don't do any 25, 30-year loans. Just very short-term, people who are looking to transition between properties, or they just want a fast settlement. So they come to us for 1, 2 or 3 months, and then they refinance out again. So all short-term loans, and we do pay targeted returns to investors from 5.85% up to 7.5%. So it is a good alternative to the banks. If you've got some spare cash, great for people who might be saving up for their next property acquisition, looking to park their money for a while. We do pay a monthly distribution. So if you're looking for a monthly income, it's definitely worth considering a mortgage fund.
Yeah, okay, so I guess from the point of view of the people who have the money to invest, this is essentially just looking for a place that could generate some income or interest on their part rather than just leaving it in the bank. And the pool they're putting it into is money that you lend.
Absolutely. And all of the loans that we do, they're all backed by a registered mortgage over Australian property. With us, it's mostly residential. Probably 85% of our loan book would be residential mortgages, around about 15% commercial property, but and all in the major capital cities and the larger regional areas.
In a high interest rate environment, though, would that be risky? Because it doesn't matter whether you're investing in a fund or buying property direct, the interest rates are going to impact that in some way. So in the context of a mortgage fund, from someone who wants to put money in there, are the risks lesser or greater than if they were to invest directly?
Well, that's for the investor to decide, but certainly there are risks with every investment. There's risks. So what we do is we provide our investors with all the information that they need to make their own informed decision. We're not financial advisors, so we don't give any financial advice. They do need to make up their own mind. But certainly there's a lot of things that we do to mitigate the risk. And first of all, it is a pooled fund. So your investment would be spread across many, many loans. You're not just being asked to invest in one specific loan. We're not high-risk lenders. The LVRs are quite low in comparison to banks, for example. And we don't do construction loans because they're a higher risk again. We don't do property development loans. We don't lend on islands. So there's no high-risk lending. We do have strict policies in place, so we're not exposing our investors to anything that's high risk. But yeah, investors do need to make up their own mind.
Yeah, and I know you touched on it earlier in your first answer about the people that you loan to. Can you just, because if you're not loaning to construction, you're not loaning to very specific high-risk borrowers. So again, can you enumerate who are the people that you're actually loaning to?
Yeah, look, our niche in the market is bridging loans. We're probably one of Australia's largest provider of bridging loans. And that's for people who are in between houses. So, for example, they might be moving interstate or downsizing. In a lot of cases, they already own their own home outright, and they only need finance for 6 months until they sell their existing house. So they come to us. We do take a mortgage over both properties, the one that they're buying and the one that they already own. And so again, that reduces the risk. So if they're downsizing, they might already own a property that's worth $2 million and they're buying a property worth $1 million. So we'll lend them the money to settle, and we take a mortgage over both properties. So, and as you know, by having a registered mortgage over property, that does give us the right, if they default in their loan, we do have the right to repossess the property and sell it up, get the money back for the fund, and give the borrower whatever's left over.
Okay, and now let's talk about something concrete. What is the minimum investment needed for this, and how does an investor go about joining a fund, putting their funds in a fund?
Yeah, so the minimum is only $5,000, and you can invest for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months. We do pay the interest monthly, and that targeted return is paid monthly. So at the end of each month, you'll get a distribution paid back into your nominated bank account. To invest with us, all they need to do is call 13invest, or they can go to our website, ascf.com.au, download an investor pack, and someone from our investor team will give them a call, run through it with them in more detail and answer any questions that they may have.
Yeah, that sounds easy enough. I think you were talking about 5.8 to 7.5% monthly distribution, isn't
Correct.
that?